The glorious Disney empire of the planet Earth has now grown exponentially over the past decade, with the buying of Marvel Studios and all of Marvel Comics. Now the Marvel Cinematic Universe is under their control. Then they bought LucasArts and destroyed, well, actually Lucasfilms, and then they destroyed LucasArts, handed EA the rights to do whatever they want with Star Wars games, and we all know how that worked. And now, Disney's mighty empire only fattens to such a disturbing descent of craziness that I'm pretty certain if the Mongol Empire could compare themselves to Disney's empire, they would be like, okay, we took a lot of land, but I don't think we took that much. Like, yeah. Basically, Disney's the new Mongol Empire of the technological era. Because it was announced that they will acquire the majority assets of 21st Century Fox or 20th Century Fox as part of this big merger that will probably change the balance of all things and probably destroy the big Studio 6 system that was known for many years. And they have now bought the rights to virtually almost every single one of their properties that ever was created. Mostly. Okay, so several news companies will still exist in the Fox's company. Unfortunately, Fox News is one of them. However, now Disney can go ahead and eventually say, after some processes go through and the mergers go all right, that now they can say they own FX, National Geographic, Family Guy, The Simpsons, I think Futurama. They can also now own Now they own Anastasia, the Don Bluth movie that everyone kept thinking was a Disney movie because it looked like a Disney movie with basically every single thing. So, yeah. Disney has taken over the world. Like, like something has to give, right? Like, I was hearing about this and I was like, okay, really think about this. Disney. This was one of my big concerns when heading into this. If Disney just bought everything up, and considering how Disney's system is, I think they're still mad that they had to be PG-13 for Marvel stuff. But let's see, let's be real. Could you really imagine Disney wanting to put their name on a product that's rated R or TVMA, TV-14, like The Simpsons, Family Guy, Deadpool, Logan? Could you really imagine them ever wanting to do something like that? Okay, so I don't know what's going to happen with a lot of Fox's properties now that it's under Disney's umbrella. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they canceled The Simpsons and Family Guy, even though they are very well needed after years of bastardization. They're probably, like, okay, like, this will probably, that this might lead to what I believe is the death of rated R movie mainstream audiences, because, like I said, really imagine it, Fox made Deadpool, they made the Alien movies, they helped make the Predator movies. Can you really imagine Disney wanting to say, hey, we want to put that in a rated R category. We want to be known as a company that made rated R material, even though that doesn't really fit our characters. Yeah. And Bob Iger, the CEO, has said that they are open to making Marvel R-rated movies, and that Deadpool 2 will still be rated R, though after Deadpool 2, we don't know what's going to happen. And Fox had a lot of big plans heading into next year, like the New Mutants, X-Men Dark Phoenix Saga movies, Deadpool 2, not surprisingly. So it's letting me to think, after 2018, what happens next? Like, they can't just stop these movies after they just spent millions upon millions of dollars. So would they really want to just shut them down and reboot it? Okay, months ago, Hugh Jackman had said that he would only be interested in returning as Wolverine if he was an Avenger, if he was in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. everyone assumed, oh, that's never going to happen. And besides, how would you, it would just be weird considering how Logan ended. It ended off perfectly, and quite honestly, that should have been the end of the X-Men franchise of movies, unless they wanted to reboot it again. By the way, they're considering doing that again. And anyways, but now it's now led to concerns of, well, wait, is he coming back? And and Hugh Jackman has said, no, that chapter in my life is done. I don't want to come back. Though, if they came up with a very creative way and gave him money if he wanted it, and they came up with a very complicated plan that made sense to them at least, would the offer not be declined, or would he hesitate? Okay, I really don't know. Anyways, so, yeah, this whole buy everything mentality Disney's doing is basically to prepare for their ultimate creation, or at least in their minds. The launching of the Disney streaming service they want to do in 2019, where they'll be interested in basically buying basically showing a streaming service to compete with Netflix, and they've already said it's going to be substantially lower than the Netflix price. So, yeah. So, I was really worried, and then I found out how much money Disney was willing to pay. $52.4 billion was given for this. How can you say no to that? But, Bob Iger, also, there is one thing that people might say is a middle ground here. Bob Iger was reportedly saying to people that know him and people that reported it, that he would consider, if Fox was not bought by Disney, if they did not want to go through the sale, they would go ahead and Bob Iger would leave Disney to set up a potential running candidate for the United States presidency. Yeah, that's actually gonna that was actually considered. And we already have The Rock planning to do presidency stuff in 2024 if he wants to do it, since he said he's not going to do it in 2020, probably because he's busy with, he wants to end his wrestling career on a high note, and he wants to end his Hollywood career on a high note, and he wants to start fresh with 2024. And considering how things are right now in the political landscape, I would not blame him. So, yeah, anyways. Now, we got all this going on, and Bob Iger is now being said that he's not going to do the presidential stuff because he needs to stay and oversee how the merger process goes. So, yeah, it's a little concerning about what it will buy and what it's going to happen now. Like, yeah. So, much of Fox is now under Disney's empire, and some franchises that you never would expect Disney be interested at all because it doesn't fit their model. And like I said, PG-13 is already pushing it for them. And, yeah. Like, I wouldn't be as freaking out as much if Disney was still the 20th century Disney. You know, where they would go all out, where they would do scenes like Goofy and other clones of him being hung, being thrown off bridges, killing and whatnot. Or, you know, making Goofy do these insane things and whatnot. Or, you know, back in 90s Disney, they would go ahead and kind of subtly imply commentary of the modern world that would happen decades later after Pocahontas. Yeah, I'm still saying about that song thing. Moving on from that. And could you really have imagined Disney now wanting to make a movie about a crazed religious nutjob who's lusting over a woman that's half his age and screaming about hellfire? Could you really imagine Disney now wanting to do that in this politically correct society we live in? Yeah, and Bob Iger, even if he wanted to do this, could he really convince the corporate execs saying that this will ruin our brand? It's going to kill our gimmick, man. We're the kiddie company. We are the Nintendo of Hollywood. We play it safe. We don't do that. Or like, have you seen what's going on with the people's reactions to The Last Jedi? I'll be seeing that soon. But from what I've been hearing from public reactions, And I have not seen spoilers yet, thank God. I think I might know where this is going to go, but considering that George Lucas isn't the one controlling everything, and Disney is, and they will back out if something gets bad. Something tells me they'll back out considering what's going on with the public reception despite critics praising it and giving it God knows how many praises. So, yeah. Disney now basically owns pretty much a majority of Hollywood. So are we going to call it Disneywood? Like, that would make so much sense. But anyways. Like, I look at this and I think they own a huge majority of people's childhoods here. And here's the funniest thing. The Simpsons predicted Fox being bought by Disney almost 20 years ago. Yeah. They had predicted that Disney would eventually buy Fox. And they were right again. Like how they were right with Donald Trump getting presidency, the Seahawks versus the Broncos and all that stuff. So, yeah, it's surprising, but at the same time, well, not really surprising, but at the same time, like, it makes me worried because I can't imagine Disney doing the more darker material of rated R movies and all that. Like I can also buy the fact that the MPAA kind of has problems with its rating systems, considering that okay, decapitations are cool for kids, but blood isn't? Yeah, like, okay, in X-Men Apocalypse, we see people's heads get decapitated through sand. And in Alice in Wonderland, which was rated PG, had not only decapitation of a brutal decapitation of a dragon, not only did it have floating heads, decapitated floating heads that Alice is climbing over and whatnot. And all I'm wondering is, wait, hold on. So Fox, okay, and I'm like wondering, wait, how can Disney get away with this rating if it has all this violence in the Tim Burton Alice in Wonderland movie, which has a heavy hand in politics? I still don't get that part. Like, it's only a matter of time till Disney says, we want to buy DC, we want to buy Warner Brothers and whatnot, and then we can finally do the dream fight of the Avengers versus the Justice League. And let's be honest, everyone would want to see that, so long as DC gets rebooted with their Marvel Extended Universe, because, with their DC Extended Universe, because it's not working from what I'm hearing, and now they have to restructure everything after what happened with Justice League. But yeah, it's gonna be an interesting it's gonna be interesting 2018, and also, because of this planned merger, doesn't that mean Disney practically owns 60% of all the major box office grossing projections this entire year? All of Fox's earnings now go to Disney technically? And people are now saying, oh, is Anastasia going to finally become a Disney princess? Okay, I never even gave that thought, but anyways. And also, there's just one big positive people can make. They finally get, after so many years of waiting, the unaltered Star Wars original trilogy videos. The things that George Lucas has withheld. Disney now owns the rights again, technically. Oh, and also Fantastic Four, because God knows Fox has screwed that up. And they wanted to make a Doctor Doom movie just for the sake of, hey, can we keep the license even though we're clearly not going to do anything creative with it? So, yeah. So, yeah, I just have this worry that Disney, no matter if they say it, will take back their word and not really commit to this whole rated R movie genre, because it's Disney. Like I said, I keep thinking they're still mad that they have to go PG-13 with the Marvel movies and some other films they have to do, and they would prefer to stay G or PG in a increasingly politically correct world. And even then, the MPAA is really confusing. So, yeah, it's a very uncertain look for Hollywood, but if this is all approved with this whole mighty conglomerate that's going to form, And let's be honest, Disney got away with buying Lucasfilms and Marvel. So it wouldn't surprise me if they do buy Fox, if they get the approval from the government to buy Fox entirely. Though that basically leaves the question, what's left? Like, are they going to go international and take all the other big companies in the international department? Like, Disney is buying everything. And that's why I was talking about the FCC video, because this kind of would affect Disney's plan for streaming services, since the ISP cable companies that own ISP power could block their site, and less people would be going on there. Unless they want to pay God knows how much money a month, even though they have to already pay a month fee just to access all the content. So, yeah. And I would say they probably would buy Lionsgate, though, yeah, I don't really think so. Why do I say they wouldn't buy Lionsgate? Well, other than the Hunger Games that were honestly good for me, they've kind of produced some bad stuff, like the Gummy Bear movie that IHE reviewed, because I don't know why they did that. And a lot of big YouTube celebrities getting movies, even though a lot of them weren't really working out. And they still push for it. Look, I get you're trying to capture the market before this really blows up, but it's not helping, I think. So, yeah, it's going to be a weird coming couple year or so to see how all this goes. It's honestly going to be interesting what Disney's planning to do with Fox and all their properties. Like, I get they're probably going to just do the streaming service, but I don't know what's going to happen to all the current programs that are still on TV, that are still going to be airing, and they're still making episodes when Fox last time gave their orders. So, is Family Guy done? Is Simpsons done? Is Futurama never going to come back because Fox doesn't want to bring it back, even though everyone wants it back, and even now Disney will try to make it even more difficult to bring it back, and then they would have to take their stuff somewhere else, like they're already moving to Sci-Fi. They have the same channel as Sharknado. Like, eventually, I'm pretty sure Disney will be trying to buy up the anime industry. Okay, yeah, that was really pushing it. I don't really think they would do that. Mostly because the anime industry kind of has a lot of fan service. Let's just say that. Really, really crazy fan service in some of their shows. And I do not like to talk about that. I've been tempted to talk about what the hell is with fan service, but I do not think I am going to subject myself to watching fan service galore and drive myself crazy. So yeah, yeah. So it's going to be, like I said, going to be interesting. Oh, and it's only a matter of time until they want to buy Star Trek and whatnot. Like, they already have all this power and whatnot. They could basically control all of Hollywood at this point with all this money, all this influence, and basically owning virtually everything. Like, who can stop Disney now? If they go ahead and do what Apple does with phones and technology and computers, they win. They rule the world practically through the power of greed. So I don't know what's going to happen. I think a lot of people in Fox are freaking out, wondering, man, who's going to stay and who's going to go? Are all our works going to be taken? Or are we going to be creatively bankrupt because we can't do the concepts that we already do unless we go PG and dumb it down? I mean, like, granted, Family Guy and Simpsons have overstayed their welcome. Family Guy especially, since they clearly know what's best for how men are treated by women, and therefore they just want it. I'm still pissed off at that, and I must stress that Carrie Fisher voiced that character on that episode that Mr. Enter reviewed. Yeah. So, yeah, moving on. Yeah, like, it's only a matter of time until they want to get what remains that they don't own and try and take it. Like, they don't have Star Trek under their belt. They don't have DC Universe comics under their belt. And after that, they win. They already got the cartoon industry locked up in their eyes. They got the movie industry locked up. They got the TV industries locked up, the live action shows. They have And they'll probably get the streaming service locked up, but they're going to have a hard time competing with Netflix since it has longevity. Unlike Disney's, Disney has longevity. I'm talking about a streaming platform. So, yeah, it's going to be very interesting. Like, if they somehow convince Sony to surrender the rights to the Spider-Man universe and sadly get Venom canceled if they wanted to, still hoping that's going to be awesome with Tom Hardy as the role. They win. They rule the world. They rule the entertainment industry. They already at a position where they are basically a spear power. Like, you know, like when the U.S. and various other countries basically had old era China under their thumb with all the trading stuff going on like a century or so ago. So, yeah. It's, like I said, going to be a very interesting 2 years or so. If the government really approves of this, things are going to be very different. Like I said, there are some positives, like the return of the original Unaltered trilogy, and some fans feel like Anastasia might finally become an official Disney princess, as everyone looked at her like she was a Disney princess, and she actually would be a legitimate Disney princess. Also, I know what I'm about to say is going to be a little debatable, but and off topic, but yeah, people bash Pocahontas for being historically inaccurate. No one did that when Anastasia happened, as far as I know. And wasn't it revealed that Anastasia is really gone and did not survive according to all the legends? Yeah, and the fact that they added magic, even though there's magic in Pocahontas, and yet people still bash that movie because it's historically inaccurate. Even though the Anastasia movie, it can also be said to be very, very inaccurate, along with magic. So, yeah, I don't think no one can make that argument. I think if people love Anastasia but hate Pocahontas, it's confusing. For the historical inaccuracies. So, yeah, moving on. So, Disney has pretty much have almost everything they need to lock up. Now they're going to probably take over the tech industry, most likely, in the future. So, yeah, we're going to be seeing how things go. And I'm curious of what's planning in the future with Disney's grand plan. Like, everyone's saying that the X-Men and all that, and all the Marvel stuff that Fox had under their license deals will now be part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Okay, I don't think we're going to see that until Avengers 4. Wait, even then Avengers 4 might be debatable because they were showing it back-to-back with Avengers Infinity War. So, probably they'll add a scene at the end to indicate this is happening, or they just rewrite some stuff in order to add that in. Or they'll just get a fresh start when they start the sequel to Spider-Man Homecoming, which will be the opening for Phase 4, or whatever they're going to call it afterwards, because they're saying they might be phasing out the whole phase system. So, yeah. So, those were my thoughts on Disney's acquisition of Fox. This was Neo Reality Entertainment. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and donate. Stay tuned for more.